Welcome to another session of the Long Island View. I am Tommy Maher, and this is my beautiful co-host, Miss Joyce Philbin-Collier. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Well, we just did a part one on this show,
Yes,
and I'll
very
tell you,
informative.
It's
It's invaluable
like
for
I
parents.
said, it's like having a personal trainer
Yes.
for the parents.
Yeah.
And our personal trainer is in the studio with us right now, and she is a super lady. I've known her a couple years now, and I'd like to introduce her, Miss Verdel Jones.
Thank you.
Welcome.
How are you?
again.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Again, I got to say that I can't even put my finger on how important this probably is to so many people. Because, I mean, I know a lot of guys. I know a lot of people that, have kids in school or grandkids going to school. And this is the time, right? I
Right.
mean, this is the time of year to get ready for
Right.
the
I
coming
mean,
up
people
here.
are making decisions,
So,
right?
I mean, I can't think of a
Make decisions.
better time to
Yeah.
run the
Well,
show.
would you say that it's juniors right now that are preparing
Absolutely.
to
Junior, if you have an 11th grade student, this is really the year where, you're really deciding where you want
Right.
to apply. The summer of junior year is a great time to visit college campuses. You can really get a sense of if you want to be there or not. Some people say, well, there's no kids on campus, there's no students on
Right.
campus. It doesn't matter. It is a great
It's actually probably
time.
better in a way.
Well,
Not all distractions like, oh.
Well, you want to be able to. The campuses are never empty,
Right.
But you want to be able to talk to students on campus that might not be doing that tour, because the students that are doing those campus tours, they work for the school, so they're going to give you the best, more
But
than
it also
likely.
allows the student to actually see what
Right.
they'll be getting from the
Exactly,
school,
exactly.
rather than, wow, that looks like fun over
Well,
there.
I have to
or-
say
Right,
that
right.
the one tweak that we did
Mm-hmm.
for my son's school is he knew what he wanted to do, and hopefully we'll talk about
Yeah. Oh,
declared versus undeclared.
yeah,
But he knew what he wanted to do.
Right.
So he made an appointment. They had known the work that he had done. They wanted to meet him. They actively recruited him.
Okay.
They had a lot of seniors that were graduating from the radio station, so his knowledge was definitely sought after.
Okay.
And so he met with the chairman of the journalism
Okay,
department,
right.
and he also met with the radio station. And of course, they have to have people there for the radio station, so he
Right.
was able to speak to.
Exactly.
So if you are declared and you know what you want to do, I think it's really important to reach out to the specific area of interest that you want to go, because
Right.
these are the people you're going to be dealing with
Dealing
on a
with,
daily basis,
exactly,
and
right.
that's the people you want to know you jive with.
Right. And also, to your point, as far as majors are concerned, I love talking about that topic, because I think it is important for students to know what they want to do. It gives them focus. And they go to college, they're in that major. If they're undeclared, sometimes they could waste really a year because they're trying to figure it out. I like to do a lot of that career interest stuff early on in 8th grade. It might not be what they're going to do for the rest of their life, but say they like science. So then maybe they'll major in some science area. They like communications. It's the same kind of thing. I think it's very important for students to have a direction when they're going
Is
to
it still
college.
the same thing?
You
I'm
know?
sorry, Joyce.
It's okay.
Is it still the same thing? Like I know it always was, and like I'm not in that category anymore. But I've always been told, and when I was in school, that most college students don't really even know what they're or think about what they're doing.
This is what I wanted to
Sophomore,
say.
right?
My daughter is an honor student, and she, on paper, did all the right things,
Right.
with the extracurricular, benevolent things,
Right,
whatever.
all that,
And
yeah.
she was starting to stress because she really had no idea what she wanted to do, and she was really getting upset. And I was one, when I graduated, I didn't know what I wanted to do with the rest of my
Right.
life. I was like, honey, don't even worry. But when we went to the guidance advisor that time, I went a few minutes early to talk to her
Right.
because I knew this was like really
Something
stressing
was-
her.
right, right.
And she had a different point of view. She said that many students apply undeclared, and my daughter is brilliant in math and science, and she thought business would be the direction. She changed it to like a trainer.
Before college?
No.
When
Once
she
she was
was
there.
in college, right.
No, she was accepted
Right.
as an undeclared applicant.
Right.
No, but I
And
mean,
she got a
when-
2/3
In
academic
her
scholarship.
freshman year, she
Yeah.
decided what she wanted to do?
By the end of the
by the end of the freshman
year,
year, she decided.
Because
Right.
and I think that this is an important point to make, that it's okay if you haven't declared.
Right.
Because in freshman year, you're mostly taking core courses.
General ed courses,
General
right.
ed, exactly. And so you have to take the arts and the foreign language and, you know,
Right.
a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So you have that sort of space.
Yeah.
And she changed her major twice. She called me on April Fool's, and she says, I'm no longer whatever it was. And I said, well, this is either an April Fool's joke,
Right.
or don't worry about it, honey. You'll
Right.
figure it out. And then at 2 in the morning, I'm a math major. I said,
Well, one of the things I will say in reference to that is if you're undecided, it's better if you go to a school that has a lot of options.
well, that's why she chose
that's
where she went.
important
Yeah,
because you
absolutely.
can they'll have the courses that you need when you need to graduate. If you've changed your major, because if in a smaller school,
You're
they might not
absolutely
run
right.
that course. So if you're undecided, you really don't know what you want to do, you need to pick a school that has a lot of options.
And
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I'm a perfect example of that because I went to Cortland. My
Right.
guidance counselor said, "Oh, you're athletic. You should be a gym teacher."
Yeah.
Boom. Okay. And I was like, all right. You know. So
Give me the ball.
so I went one semester and I couldn't stand it, but I had nowhere to turn because
had
it
nowhere
was
to
either
turn.
a physician assistant
Exactly.
program.
That's what Cortland's
you know,
about.
Sports,
Right.
rugby was a big thing up
Right.
there. The bars
Right.
were a big thing up there. That I couldn't major in that. So,
Exactly. So your choices were limited.
Very.
So you have to make sure that you go to a school that has, you know, a lot of different majors, a lot of different
Yes.
options. So this
Sure.
way, if you do want to change, you can. And you know, and I'm biased in reference to, you know, a major. My children were they knew what they wanted to do. But the other thing is, we put them in things that they were interested in,
Right.
and gave them an opportunity to really that exposure to it. So we kind of figured, oh, they like this, they don't like this, they're going to do away with that.
Right.
But we continually put them in things that they said they were interested in and
That
had
is
them
good,
try it
because how
out.
many times do
Absolutely,
you
yeah.
think you want to do something, then
Right.
you get there,
And
it's
you
not
don't
really
like
what
it.
you wanted to do.
Exactly,
Like, you know,
exactly.
you didn't want to be a volleyball.
I think I kind of knew
Right.
I didn't want to do that before I went. I think the whole idea about going away to school was
Right,
what-
was
Sounded
more
and
like
I
an
didn't
easy
have the
run.
guidance that
Right.
other
Well,
people had.
Verdel, give us this is a part 2, so people will be seeing it at different times. So
Right.
give us a little of your background.
Sure. Okay.
And then I also would like to rerun, even though we ran it during
Okay,
the
great.
first show. I would like to watch, because, rerun the video. But give us a little background of yourself, and then we'll run a video.
Okay, well, I'm an educator. I started out as a business major when I graduated from high school, and that's, again, I made a shift. But I was a business major. I got my bachelor's in business. And as I was going through that process, I said, you know what, I don't know if I really want to do this. I graduated. I couldn't find a job that I wanted to be a marketing major. I wanted to work for a marketing company. You know, I had ideas of that. Didn't work out as far as the jobs that were being offered. So I decided, you know what, I want to go back to school, and I really love teaching. So I went to school to be a business teacher. So I ended up being a business teacher. So I used my business degree to be a business teacher. And then, you know, I did that for a number of years, and I ended up being a
yep.
counselor.
Both things
Yeah.
that you love.
That's right, yeah. So I ended up being a counselor. You know, I did that for a few years, and then I became an administrator at, you know, at a school in Long Island for a district. And one of the things that I really love about my job is sharing information with people. You know, the information that I learned, being in education, you learn so much. I mean, you should, as an educator, you should be learning constantly something every day. And I like to share that information. I don't like to keep it to myself. So that's the reason why I decided to write the book, The Parent Agent, because I gained so much from my experiences and going to different campuses and learning about colleges. I applied that with my own children, that I wanted to share that information with people that might not have that access.
I have the feeling, being that I know you, I have a feeling that you have a lot of parents that come back and thank you.
You know what? It's nice. You know, you as an administrator in this position right now, I've been there 10 years now. You always get the parents who complain, because who are they? They're going to complain to me.
Right.
But then, even as an administrator, I do get parents that thank me. We have night programs. They're walking out.
No, because I have
Thank
a feeling
you. This is great.
You could take a kid,
Oh,
and take
yeah.
them off that path, and put them on the right
Yeah.
path. I just get that vibe from
As
you.
a counselor, that's something
'cause
that
I think
love.
it's a passion of
Yeah,
yours.
it really is. I
And-
love kids.
And whether
You
it's,
know,
it's putting money in
so-
your pocket, which it's not, it's letting you sleep good
Right.
at
It's the
night.
difference between
Exactly.
a calling and a job.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I really love kids,
You
and
love
as a
what you do.
counselor and as a teacher, I was, you know, I was a motherly figure, but also stern with them, and they knew that I cared about them, and yeah, I was able to make some changes
Well,
with a
more
lot
mothers
of
should
kids.
be like that too. I
Yeah.
agree with you.
Exactly.
You know, so yeah, definitely. You know, I do have a love
Can
for
I just
education
ask you
in
to touch
children.
on how the process has been streamlined? Because I think that it's overwhelming with applications
Yes.
and the separate fees. And can you talk a little bit about
Right.
how it's been streamlined?
Right. College, the process of you know, college is overwhelming, and that's a great point about streamlining it. We were talking a little bit about the Common Application as far as the application is concerned.
And what is that exactly?
So the Common Application has, there's schools that subscribe to it. So it's 500, 600 schools, something like that. And if your school is a member of Common Application, you can submit your application through that. The beauty of the Common Application is it's one application. So in other words, you put in all your activities, your identification information, there's an essay on there, and you only have to fill that out once. And then
that's
what,
nice.
right,
I
and then what
remember
you
filling
do
out-
It's not
is
like going
you
to the
send
doctor's
it,
office where you have got to
Oh,
fill out
God.
fill out
the same
forms, the
thing
same forms over and over
yes.
again. And then you submit that electronically to the schools that you're interested in applying to. Now, there's a fee for every school that you're interested, you know,
Right,
that you want to
right.
apply to, but it makes that process so much more
Oh, I would
manageable.
think, sure.
And with our state system, with you know, SUNY, there's one application. With the CUNY, there's one application. It's some of the SUNY is a little bit different. They have their own thing sometimes, but the Common App has really made it easy for
Yes.
more manageable
And
for
then
the parent
also,
and student.
as you had mentioned, there are supplements where some schools require additional information,
Right.
and you can provide that also electronically.
Also electronically.
Yes.
So say, for example, you're applying to 5 schools.
Right.
2 schools, they want something a little different. They want something, they have a specific question maybe about a major
Yes.
or about why do you want to go to this school, and that will be included
Something
in the
that
application.
personalizes it, that gets them to know you a little better.
Exactly. Or that they can kind of get an indication of, did you research our school?
Yeah.
Are you really interested in coming here, and what do you know about us?
And if it's a good fit.
And if it's absolutely,
Well,
it's a good fit.
That's a win-win.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It is. And I remember when the Common Application first came out, I was a counselor, and we were like, oh my goodness, we weren't used to it. It wasn't part of what we did.
Right.
And now it's, you know, it's so much easier for everybody.
Well, when I heard about the Common App, when my son went through, because, you know, we had visions of us having to
Right.
fill all this stuff out for him, you know, the fact that he
Yeah.
Well, didn't
was-
you have to do that when you were a youngin'?
Well, I didn't do it to that many. I
To
should
that-
have done.
right.
I wasn't. I didn't have the oversight that.
See, I remember doing
My
that.
sister
Yeah.
had.
And it was brutal.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember that
Like,
process.
I
as
wasn't
a-
given any, you know, like about interviews. I wasn't given any instruction about
Right.
that.
It was
you know.
different. It was very different, I think. I
Yeah.
know when I went to college, it was very different. It wasn't as formalized as it is now. It seemed a little bit, I don't know, it just seemed more of an easier, natural thing. I mean, you were an athlete, so it's a little bit more involved.
But well, on that other end, it was a lot easier.
Right.
Because they didn't care what they had to do to get you in there. They didn't. I
Right.
mean, in those days, they'd have people, and I'll say it out. They'd have other people take your SATs
Right.
for you too.
Oh.
You know, that,
yeah.
that
Yeah,
went
yeah.
on
Oh,
every day.
right, yeah.
I mean, that went on every day.
Yeah.
And even through college, they would push people through. I mean,
Right.
just push them through.
They
Which is
They
so
do.
wrong.
They
And you know,
do.
because a lot of these guys, they burn their money when even if they make it,
Absolutely.
they
Right.
burn it and they got
And then they
nothing
have
to
nothing
do.
And then
left
they have
when they,
nothing.
you know,
Right.
when they're too old to play.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So true.
Well, I think I would like to
Play the video.
at least
Okay.
play the video
Great.
again, and pay close attention to this. Very, very, very great information.
How do I get my child into the best college? Why is early planning imperative in the college process? In her new book, The Parent Agent, Verdel Jones answers these questions and more. What does it mean to be a parent agent? As a parent agent, you represent your child to help them get into the college of their choice. Strategies learned in this book will help you create opportunities for your child that will develop them into successful individuals. Verdel Jones is an experienced educator with over 20 years' experience. She has personally visited hundreds of college campuses and holds extensive knowledge about the higher education selection process and has helped hundreds of students. She has also successfully been a parent agent for her own children. In her new book, The Parent Agent, you will be given concrete information on how to visit colleges, learn why knowing your child is critical in finding the right college, understand why starting early can make all the difference in keeping your child on track for higher education, gain an understanding of the financial aid process, and discover steps needed to financially plan for college expenses. You will also receive useful resources and checklists to keep you organized and focused. All of this information and more is contained in Verdel Jones's new book, The Parent Agent. So let this book be your guide through the college process to get to the end goal, your child enrolling into the college of their choice. To get your copy of The Parent Agent, go to deliteach.com and order your book today. How do I get my child?
Okay, that was great. Okay, I would like to talk about one of the scariest parts of the process,
Yes.
which is the financial part of it.
Money.
Yeah, I mean, most parents, a lot of the parents that I've spoken to, they don't see it in their account, and so they tell the kid, you can't go.
Right.
Which, I think is such a disservice because
Yes.
there's so many ways that you can finance the education. And maybe if you wouldn't mind talking a little
Sure.
bit about.
Yeah, we have a financial aid night in the school, and the first thing I say is, hi, welcome, and this is probably the worst part of the whole process is the paying for it, and it really is. But there are ways, I would encourage everybody to fill out the financial aid form, the FAFSA form.
FAFSA.gov.
.gov, right, exactly.
I just
say
I just
FAFSA.
finished for 2015,
Right,
16.
right. FAFSA.gov, exactly. And
you shouldn't pay for it. If you're on a site
Oh my
at
goodness,
the end
no,
that
no.
wants to charge
No.
you do not have to pay to file a FAFSA.
Right.
Click out of that and go to
And go
FAFSA.gov.
Mm-hmm.
I almost made that mistake.
Oh no, right, it's free. The
FAFSA.
one of those F's are free in there. So you want to make sure that that's what you're filling out, and everyone should fill it out regardless of how much you make.
Right.
There's a couple of reasons why. Number one, you never know what might happen. From day to day. There's also the opportunity to get student loans. So your children can take out student loans. They're minimal, but they can take out loans. And the parents can take out loans. It's called a Parent Plus loan. And the Parent Plus loan is a loan that is given. It's by the federal government, and it gives you up to the cost of attendance. So if that school is $40,000, they'll give you $40,000 to pay for that. For that school.
They cover the living expenses.
They cover whatever the colleges have something on their websites that they have to have. Every single college is called a net price calculator. That net price calculator will break down exactly what that college is going to cost you. They throw in a figure for travel. They throw in a figure for books, incidentals, miscellaneous fees, tuition, room and board. They put all that together, and there's a cost of attendance.
Right.
So that's what they base the that Parent Plus loan and the
Yes.
cost of attendance.
And it's deferred. You have a choice of either paying it
Right.
as they go, or
Or-
you can defer it to graduation.
Till graduation.
Which is, a great option for the parents
Right.
as well.
The interest builds up, but that is an option, So it's very important for you to fill out that FAFSA form but even for our younger students in reference to the FAFSA, because you fill out the FAFSA in your 12th grade year, but you can go to this thing called a FAFSA forecaster. And that FAFSA forecaster, you put in your financial information, it'll give you an idea of what the government expects that you can pay, which is called an expected family contribution. So they take all these numbers, they look at it, and they say, hey, you could pay $40,000. And
From your mouth to God's ears.
and it's a federal form, so you have to realize it's all
Right.
of the states.
Yeah.
It's just not
Yes.
the Northeast.
And they know if you're lying.
Yes.
Right.
Oh no, they can link into your tax return.
They link right into
Right.
the
and then
tax return.
And then you get a call. Something doesn't look the same with what you said and what's on your tax return.
Right.
Oh, I'll take care of
Right.
that right away. Sorry.
So you can
My
find
mistake.
out.
Just kidding.
Oops, you missed a zero. So you can do the FAFSA forecaster just to get a sense of what the expected family contribution may be. So that's the FAFSA is very important. But another thing is, applying to schools that might be a little bit below what your son or daughter has as far as their GPA and their SAT scores. Because the college is looking at you as an attractive candidate because you far exceed what the requirement is. So they might be willing to give you financial aid as far as in reference like to grants.
Right.
So that's another way that parents can really kind of figure out what college they can afford.
Now, can I ask you a question? I don't know if all guidance counselors that are that counsel specifically for college applications. When we went in, basically, I asked each of my kids, "What's important to you in a school?" You know, like with my daughter being undeclared, she wanted a large university because she wanted options. So whatever it was, obviously the guidance counselor has their grades in front of them, and whatever their priorities are. And it amazed me that really she was able to break it down to 5 schools that she could say, you'll definitely get in here, you know, and but then she would say, are there schools that you have in mind and, you know, match up. Do a lot of schools offer that?
They do, and we had talked a little bit about Naviance, and that's one of the tools that counselors can use. There's other tools available because not all schools have that particular tool. There's a Guidance Direct, that's just strictly for New York, really. But Naviance is kind of a national thing that people can use, and some districts have it. Most districts in our area do, and they're able to not only, you know, put in, do you want an urban, do you want a suburban or rural, how many students are you happy with on campus, and you can pick the region of the country you might want to go to. But the nice thing about Naviance is that it's based on historical data. So it takes a look at all the students who may have applied to a particular school in your school, you know, a particular college within your school, and they can figure out who got in with this grade and SAT scores and who did not.
And Naviance offers the ability for every parent to establish a username and password.
Right.
And this is an additional tool in addition to the guidance office. But it also keeps you on track, I understand, as far as your application process. And it's sort of a checks and balances.
Right, because what happens is when we get applications, and this is with most schools, when we get the application, it's kind of logged. It's logged in.
Right.
The recommendations, the application itself, the transcript that the you know, school has to provide, and all of that can be tracked by the parent. So the parent can see exactly when these documents were sent to a particular college. So it's a really nice way, as you said, to have that check and balance. You know, and
so you don't lose out for like something you forgot that, you know, was just slipped through the cracks.
And you know, one of the things that I really want to stress too is the counselor is there to help you. And one of the things that I stress also in the book is in 9th grade, have your child introduce themselves to the counselor. The counselor is the holder of a lot of information. They're the holder of scholarship information, special programs that your students can actually do. If they don't know your child, they cannot recommend them.
Yeah, that was a requirement at our school that they had to, one of their classes was with their guidance counselor.
Right, but that's in a group setting. So you have to personally, I'm Verdel Jones. I wanted to meet you, and when will I meet you again? Build a rapport with
I
them.
think that's very important.
Definitely
But I
agree
do
with
want,
that.
I'm going to make a right turn here.
Okay.
Other than being a future the New York Times bestseller, which I really think that this could be.
I'm putting it in the universe.
I mean,
All right.
I'm putting it in the universe.
I'm telling you, the parent agent, I mean, this is something that any parent that has a child that plans on going to college, whether he's 3 or 4 years old right now, should buy this book.
Yes, and it streamlines a very otherwise scary
It'll
process.
get you such a head start. The earlier the better.
The earlier the
book,
better,
right?
absolutely.
So, I mean, but other than that, I want to let the people also know at home that you're not just a one-trick pony. I mean, you do a lot of things. I know you work with the youth.
Yes.
Outside of the school system.
Right.
You're a TV host.
Yes, I am.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I have a TV show. It's AAU Conversations with Verdel Jones. And, you know, being an educator at heart, I'm really dedicated to sharing information. That's one of the, I love sharing what I know with individuals. So my hope is that when people watch, they learn something that they may not have known. it's not necessarily education based, but it's educational in the sense that they will learn something from the guests that I have on the
Well,
show.
I would assume that being a guidance counselor in a school system that deals with problems every day,
Right.
who better than to have seen and dealt with all these problems, have a better idea of really
What's
you know,
needed.
you have you're on the pulse of what's going on with
Right.
the youth. So I mean, what better person than really? I mean,
Right.
I can't think of a better person that's in a better position to really know what's going on with the
Right.
youth. So elaborate a little more with that show, because I actually watch the show. I love the show. I think it's a terrific show.
Thank you.
Absolutely terrific. You've had phenomenal guests on there.
Yeah, I really
mean,
had
she's
awesome.
had I mean, endless people. I mean, the
Well, why don't you tell us?
astronaut.
Why don't you tell us who you've had?
Yeah.
Well,
I
I mean,
can't remember her name,
it's-
but she
it's-
was on the space shuttle. I remember that.
It's a lot of, you know, it's for the students and it's also for the parents. It's people who work with the children as well. I mean, we've had financial people on here who've been on CNN and you know, talking about financial literacy and, you know, and how that kind of, you work with students to learn about that. So we've had, Clyde Anderson was on our show. He's a great guy. We've had Dr. Marvin Thompson, who's an educator. He had a show on OWN Network. I can't think of it right now. He was a principal based in New Orleans.
It's his fault.
And it was,
Catch him.
and it was, but Dr. Marvin Thompson was on, and he was an excellent guest. We've also had some, you know, local people. Dwayne Gregory, he is running for Congress.
Great guy.
Against Peter King,
Yes.
you know, in the fall. So, you know, we were
He was
excited
running
to have
off to
him.
the rally, I think, when he was here one day.
That's
He's
right.
from my
that's right.
town. He's
that's
from my
right.
town.
That's right.
Well,
and
Verdel, I know we have about a minute and a half left.
Okay.
So I want to turn the floor over to you.
Sure.
You take us out with whatever your feelings
Okay.
are, and let the people know where they can purchase this book, and take the time for yourself.
Thank you. Well, I want to really thank you for having me here this afternoon. It was my pleasure. And I would encourage everyone to purchase my book, The Parent Agent, How to Represent Your Child and Get Them into the College of Their Choice. You can pre-order the book at deliteach.com, and that's DELITEACH.com. There's a lot of college resources on there as well. So definitely check out deliteach.com. Thank
A lot
you.
of information.
Absolutely
Yes.
terrific show. And I know there's a lot of parents home going, "Whew, I'm glad we found this out."
Yes.
No, I think it's great, because I think
And it's
more
never
than
too
the
early to
students,
start preparing.
The parents are lost. I really do.
Yes.
They just don't know.
They don't know.
And it's, you know, it's a great
don't
help.
know.
I mean,
Right.
It's a
better,
great
what better
framework
gift can
to
you give
start
your
with,
kids than
and-
an education, right?
Absolutely.
So, hostesses, another Long Island View, and I'll tell you, the guests just keep getting better and better and better. Another beautiful Long Island person doing a beautiful thing for our kids on Long Island, and we can't thank
need
you
to
enough
clone
for everything
her.
you. Yeah, we need about 10 million of Verdels.
Thank you.
So thank you for so much for being here. It was
Thank
a
you.
great
It's a
pleasure to have you
pleasure.
here.
Appreciate it. Thank
I'm
you.
glad. I hope that we can help get the word out for you, because we wouldn't have you here if we didn't believe in you.
Thank
and
you.
we totally believe in you and what you're doing, and I think the world should thank you. I mean,
Yes,
there's
it's
gotta be
filling a
some-
niche that I'm sure
Yeah.
has been needed for a very long time. And
Yep.
it's very up to date, which
Right.
is important.
Important. Sure.
So we thank you. Do you have any parting words?
I'm very glad that you came. I think, as I said, this is a very important thing to talk about. And if there's any new things that come up, we'd love to have you back and promote the book again and
Great.
again and again and
Yeah,
again
Thank
until
absolutely.
we get it on that New York Times bestseller
That's right.
I think it will.
Thank
I
you.
really
Yes.
do. I mean, just think about it, because just about every household needs this book.
I know.
So with
Awesome.
that, we hope with that we brought you some great information from a super guest. And again, a joy to have my beautiful co-host here, Miss Joy. Oh, not Mrs. Joyce Philbin-Collier.
Ms.
I am Tommy Maher. We are the Long Island View, and we are looking forward to seeing you next week. Please have a blessed week. Be at peace and just enjoy life.
Be well.
Stop all the hate. Enjoy life.